how many patio heaters do I need to heat my particular area, or what kind of patio heater do I need, and how far will that patio heater project its heat? The easiest answer to the question is phone us, because tell us what you've got, tell us the area you're looking to heat, describe it to us or send photos through, and we'll give you the answers to your questions. What I want to do here is explain how we calculate it, how we work out what we're doing, and you can apply exactly the same logic yourself at home or in any kind of business environment. So I'll start it off relatively simple. So if we look, for example, that you've got an area at home, let's say you've got a rectangular patio and your house is at the back here. Now you might have a distance of, let's say, 2 meters from the house that you want to heat, and the area itself perhaps is 3 meters long. So to heat that area, we'd say, well, a normal patio heater or a powerful patio heater is going to project about 3 meters as a maximum away from where the heater is. Now, obviously, the further you are away from the heater, the less heat you're going to feel, and the nearer you are, the more heat you're going to feel. So in a situation like this, we might put up a heater, let's say here, with the hope of heating this area. Now, a normal calculation that we would use for working out how much heat a heater is going to put out, or how big an area it's going to put out, is we would say if you're in an outdoor space, it's somewhere quite exposed, then 1 kilowatt of heat, 1 kilowatt of power is going to heat about 3 square meters. So if you've got an area of 6 square meters, so 2 times 3 is 6, we've got 6 square meters here. We know to heat that area, we need a 2 kilowatt heater as a minimum to do the job. Now, if we put a heater here, for example, then what we're going to find is you're not going to get an exact rectangular heat. What's going to happen is the heat's going to come from the heater in this kind of direction, all right, and heat an area something like that. Now, clearly this area here is going to be where most of the heat is felt, and then once you come away from that area, the heat's going to get weakened as it goes down. So that's a really simple diagram. Obviously, most people don't have a simple environment they want to heat. Everybody's got an awkward shape or something, and we'll look at how we calculate it for some of those. So let's look at something a little bit more complicated now, but remember the basic principles, that in an outdoor space, we need 1 kilowatt of heat is going to heat 3 meters squared. And if we're working indoors, let's say in a barn or a warehouse or a church, then we'd normally work on a ratio of 1 kilowatt of heat will heat 4 square meters. Now, it's really, really subjective. Everybody feels heat in a different way. What is warm to one person is cold to another. When you have an ambient temperature that's very, very low, you're not going to feel the heat as effectively as you would when it's just a little bit cold as opposed to very cold. So always bear that in mind in terms of what time of year are you looking to heat. If you want to heat in the middle of winter, you'll need a lot more power than if you're just heating on a summer's evening when the temperature's dropped a bit and it's not quite as comfortable. So let's look at that more unusual space. So let's, for example, say you've got a pub and you've got an area at the back of your pub which is L-shaped, so the building's here, okay, and you want to heat this area here. And let's, for argument's sake, say that this is 5 meters long here, and this is 5 meters long up to this point here. So how are we going to do that? Well, your customers are going to be sitting in these areas. And as long as we're running about 3 meters away as a maximum from the wall, that's our ideal zone. That's where we can heat the customers really, really well. As soon as you want to start heating in this zone here, which is too far from the building or further than 3 meters, then the heaters mounted on the walls aren't going to cut it. We need to find another solution. We need to get some heaters around this area, maybe freestanding heaters, or find something else that we can mount them on, or put poles in the ground, or all sorts of other ways. But always think that 2.5, 3 meters maximum away from the building, that's your zone. That's where you're really going to get the maximum output from the heaters. So using this calculation again, if I said here I've got 5 meters long by 3 meters wide, that's 15 square meters. 15 square meters, 1 kilowatt per 3 meters means we need 5 kilowatts to heat this area along here. Now, there's lots of different heating options, but bearing in mind that's a minimum. So if I was putting it along here, I'd, let's say, have one heater here of 2 kilowatts, one here of 2 kilowatts, and one here of 2 kilowatts. And then effectively, what we've done is we've heated this entire area. So this one is going to be heating like this one's going to be heating like this, and that one's going to be heating there. So this whole area is covered. The only slight dead zones are going to be here, here, and here, which is very, very close to the wall, and that's not normally a problem because people aren't normally seated there. I then look at the second area here and say, okay, let's divide that up. So we've got, let's say, 3 meters here by 2 meters wide. So we've got another 6 square meters. Going back to that, we need another 2 kilowatts of heat down here. So that might then mean that you need another heater in the middle here to cover that zone. And that's going to give you here and here. Now, it's not foolproof, it's not scientific. Every situation is different. If you have a building that has a lot of wind or air movement in front of it, that's going to make people feel colder. It doesn't actually affect the amount of heat, but it makes people feel colder because it evaporates the water on their skin quicker. So if you've got a very, very windy environment, you might want to say, okay, let's reduce that 3 down to 2.5 or even 2, because you want to heat people at 0 degrees in the middle of winter. If you're heating them only on a summer's evening, you're in a lovely enclosed courtyard, really a bit of a sun trap, then you might find you can push that up to the 4 meters per 1 kilowatt of power, and that'll be perfectly adequate for what you want to use. Always phone us. We're delighted to help you. We've got so many examples all over the country of places that you can look at, or send us through photographs and drawings and plans, and we'll work with you to put the right sort of solution together for whatever your particular needs are.